My mom looked at me and said, "We're going to Miami for a week. Don't call us unless someone's dying." I was 12 years old, and they were leaving me alone with my 3 younger siblings, Lola, who was 2, Angel, who was 4, and Benny, who was 6. Before leaving, my mom handed me a schedule for taking care of them. I asked if someone could come help. Absolutely not. Could I take the kids to grandma's?
No.
Could I call them if things became overwhelming? Also no. My dad didn't even look up from his phone. He just said, "Don't ruin our vacation." Apparently, I'd already ruined one of their vacations before when I called because Angel had a fever of 104 degrees. They told me that if I couldn't handle 3 little kids by myself, maybe I wasn't mature enough for 8th grade. And sadly, this wasn't the first time they'd treated me that way. The year before, they had even told my school that I had developmental problems because I'd complained about constantly babysitting my siblings. Then they left, and day 1 immediately became a disaster. At 6 in the morning, Lola got sick and threw up all over the carpet. While I was cleaning everything up, my phone rang. It was my grandmother. She was in the hospital. Doctors had discovered something during a routine examination, and she needed emergency surgery. She sounded scared. She asked if I could come sit with her before the operation. I wanted to go so badly, but I couldn't leave 3 little kids alone. So I called my dad. He rejected the call. I called again. Rejected. Again. Rejected. Finally, on the 4th attempt, he answered. I explained what was happening. His response? "What part of 'don't ruin our vacation' don't you understand?" Then he told me Grandma was probably being dramatic. And he hung up. 20 minutes later, my mom texted me that if I contacted them again about anything that wasn't a real emergency, they'd make sure I wouldn't be allowed into 8th grade the following year. Day 2 was even worse. Grandma called again. Her surgery had been moved up. She was alone and terrified. I desperately tried to find someone who could watch the kids for a couple of hours. A friend's mother offered to help, but my parents had already blocked her number after she'd previously offered to babysit. Meanwhile, Lola still had a fever. The thermometer read 103 degrees. I called the pediatrician, but they told me they needed parental permission before treating her. I was terrified. So, I did something I knew I probably shouldn't have done. I signed the form myself. My hands were shaking, and while I was trying to take care of a sick toddler, my parents were posting pictures from a yacht. Champagne, ocean views, and a caption about finally being free from the kids. Day 3 brought another phone call from the hospital. Grandma's surgery had complications. She was asking for family. I tried my father again. This time, my mother answered his phone. She called me a manipulative brat and blamed me for making their lives miserable. Then she blocked my number. I was completely on my own. Day 4. Benny fell off his bike and split his chin open. He needed 7 stitches. I couldn't leave the younger kids alone, so I took all 3 children with me to the emergency room. The nurse asked where our parents were. I lied and said they were parking.
She didn't believe me.
But she didn't push the question. And I had no idea how we were going to pay the medical bill. By day 5, I hadn't slept properly in almost 2 days. Lola's fever still wouldn't come down. Then the hospital called again. Grandma's condition had become critical. She might not survive the night. And she was specifically asking for me. She said she had something important to tell me. I completely broke down. I was crying so hard I could barely breathe. Angel kept asking why I was crying. Benny tried to hug me. And Lola started crying because I was crying. Then someone knocked on the door. It was my English teacher, Mrs. Holmes. The school had noticed I hadn't been attending classes and sent her to check on me. The moment she walked inside, she saw everything. 3 children, one of them sick, me exhausted and crying. Hospital calls coming through my phone. Then she noticed my parents' block number. She asked what was happening. I showed her everything. Then she asked to see my parents' social media. And there it was. A photograph posted only an hour earlier. My parents were out parasailing. The caption said they were living their best life. One of the hashtags was essentially bragging about having no kids around. Mrs. Holmes looked at the screen. Then she looked at me. She sat down beside me and put her hand on my shoulder. She said, "Emma, I'm going to make a call now." "This isn't your fault."
And she did.
When my parents finally returned home, they were laughing. My mom was still wearing resort bracelets. My dad had bags of souvenirs. They walked through the front door expecting everything to be normal. Instead, they found Mrs. Holmes standing in the living room, along with 2 CPS workers and a police officer. The laughter disappeared immediately. My dad demanded to know what was happening. The CPS worker stood up and explained. They were removing the children from my parents' custody. There had been multiple reports of abandonment and endangerment. And then my mom did something I don't think anyone expected. She actually smiled. She looked at us kids and said, "Thank God. I'm tired of pretending I want this." That's when the police officer stepped forward. He told her she was under arrest for child endangerment resulting in bodily harm. Her smile disappeared. She couldn't believe it. She protested that she was just a mother who wanted to go on vacation. But this wasn't about taking a vacation. It was about leaving a 12-year-old child responsible for 3 young children for an entire week while ignoring medical emergencies and refusing to come home. And then came the final twist. My grandmother had survived long enough to take action herself. Before her surgery, she had already filed for emergency custody of all of us. She wanted to make sure that no matter what happened to her, we would be safe. And that's what changed everything. My parents thought they were escaping their responsibilities for 1 week. Instead, they came home to lose custody of their children and face criminal charges. Sometimes, the person who looks like they're simply asking for help is actually the one carrying the entire family on their shoulders. And sometimes, one teacher noticing that something is wrong can completely